You're everyone. I'm Wally, and the rest of the listeners are Brennan, and we're roasting chips. Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Brennan. How are you?
What's up, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, other podcast streaming services, or places podcasts has been uploaded? What's up? I hope you all are well.
Hope you have, I think, good Thanksgiving if you celebrate.
Yes, I know for myself, I had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I just ate a lot of food. And then I felt very, very bad after consuming so much food. um, but it was still nice.
Yeah.
It was still nice. It was just food.
So, I would say same, but I had a plate of like heated up ham, because mom's out of commission and the rest of us don't know how to make food. So
at least it was heated up.
You're right. That is true.
Yeah.
But
I've been having a fantastic day so far here. It is very cold. I'm up in the mountains. It did not get above freezing once. And we're not even into the winter yet. So
no, not even close. I think we were in the
ready
40s.
For a fun season.
Might have even been in the 50s. Who knows? I don't.
Well, I am jealous. That is heat to me.
Never thought you'd say that, did you?
Yeah, no, I did not.
But speaking of cold, you know what's been cold? News.
What has been cold?
No
news. There's
very
no
little
news at all.
Anyway.
Okay.
I only have 4 things in the last 2 weeks. First off, let's just acknowledge the fact we're back on 2 weeks, because there was a span of 6 weeks where we uploaded twice.
Yes.
Because
and now we're back,
tough.
And I am here, and hopefully the sound right now is okay.
Yep. And next week we'll start our rewatch of the Star Wars holiday. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to go through that again, but
not
that was a year ago.
Year.
That was a year ago we did that.
Insane.
But so let's get into some news. There's only 4 pieces of news, and then we're going to talk about the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye.
Yeah. Speaking of 4, I just thought of this, but the scene that we got, the first like the first super long scene we got of Hawkeye in the Disney Plus Day Marvel special, hasn't happened yet. And
next episode,
the Hawkeye show, which is kind of weird, because I assumed that they would have done something from early on, but
nope, just threw us halfway in.
Yeah.
It looked like, because the Hawkeye show posted. We'll get to that, but I guess this is technically news. But the Hawkeye show posted on their Instagram scenes from this next episode, and the car wiring. There's a still of that. So
interesting
for that. But other news: Patty Jenkins' movie Rogue Squadron has been delayed indefinitely.
That's Star Wars, right?
Yeah, Star Wars. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One source said it was due to Jenkins being busy with Wonder Woman 3, and another one cited creative differences. So we don't know what's going on there. It's probably not going to happen now. Rogue Squadron, which is a little disappointing, because I love all that kind of stuff. So, oh well. I mean, hold on, my camera's really tilted.
Yeah. Okay.
That made it worse.
Are you right? Looked like there was looks like there's an earthquake happening where you are right now. No, Wally. Okay, that made it so much worse.
I know.
That's fine.
Please watch this episode. I'm sorry. Please.
It is a constant. It's a constant. Not constant. It is a. What's the word? When I say constant, it is a.
Yeah.
What am I looking for? I will stall while you.
No, you're good. Never mind.
Okay.
We're okay.
Okay. We're okay. What's what I was looking for? It is a. It's an artistic choice. It is a purposeful artistic choice. Okay. What's the word? It's purposeful. It starts with a C. I hope someone in the audience knows what word I was going for there, because I don't apparently.
I'm an engineering major for a reason.
Yeah.
Because I don't know big words.
It is. I really don't know. This is going to bug me for the end.
Creative.
I'm going to shout it out halfway through this episode.
And then that's gonna be the name of the episode.
Yeah. Perfect.
But so yeah, I guess no Rogue Squadron. I hope Rogue Squadron. Hopefully they're not too many creative differences, but
I cannot remember what words are hard. I cannot remember what Rogue Squadron was supposed to be. I'm assuming clones or rebel troopers or something like that.
I don't think anyone knew. It just had the name of it. If you went by like the books, they're legends now, so like they're not canon, but they're about like it's like post Empire, I think.
All right.
So and they could have done that, but like post First Order or something. I don't know.
Oh, so like way after.
It was open to interpretation, but
nice.
Whatever. Maybe maybe she'll come back. Maybe she won't. Maybe someone else will take it over. Maybe it'll never happen. We don't know. In more Star Wars news, I'm gonna butcher this name. Natasha Liu Bordizzo has been cast as Sabine Wren in the Ahsoka show.
Nice.
Don't know what else she's been.
The name Sabine Wren sounds familiar. It's a character that has already been established in like other stuff, and like
she's the Mandalorian in Rebels.
That's why it sounded familiar, because I saw 4 seasons of her.
Yes, that's exactly why.
That would do it.
And then to Marvel news, there's 2 of these. Kevin Feige's announced that Scarlett Johansson will be producing a secret Marvel project. That's all we got about that one. I don't remember where I saw that.
That it's supposedly not associated with Black Widow in any way.
No. I wonder what it could possibly be. It's weird. Why would... Whatever. I don't know. Wait, like, why would they bring her back and then not... I don't understand. I guess there's a reason I'm not in the movie industry, other than the fact that I don't know anyone in the movie industry. No, I take it back. I do. I do know someone in the movie industry. They were in movies and TV shows as most people are.
Yeah.
But not all people.
No. I'm not. Well, I guess
we are in the
one movie. Yeah.
Because of the Phantom.
If you can call it a movie, yes.
I just like how my behind the scenes, which will be posted eventually, is longer than the movie itself by like 4 times.
Oh,
yes. And that's not including the table read, because I didn't add that in because I figured it'd make it too long.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, and then finally, it is officially being confirmed by Sony producer Amy Pascal that Tom Holland will remain Spider-Man in the MCU, which comes after various interviews of saying he had no idea.
There we go.
I think they were just telling him, Tom, you don't know if you're coming back. Just tell them they don't know.
And you saw the specifics regarding that, right?
No, I didn't. I just saw the general kind of thing.
Yeah, so
some commentary on it.
So apparently Sony and Marvel have confirmed that there will be a Spider-Man 4, a Spider-Man 5, and a Spider-Man 6.
Tom Holland just said,
all starring him. So,
I'm okay. I'm okay with coming back.
Yeah, so that's
good.
That is more than I thought they would confirm yet. Especially because Spider-Man 3 isn't actually out.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm not infected by anything. I just need water, which I don't have. Anyway, so we don't even know if Spider-Man 3 is good yet. And they're already like
hoping so.
3 more.
Yeah. It's just like Avatar. How we've gotten like 1 Avatar movie and there's
6
5 currently. Yeah,
that's true. I've still never seen Avatar.
Same. I should probably, seeing as how they're making 4 more of them, I just feel like obligated to.
It's supposed to be good. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it for real shit. Maybe I'll bring that up some point next year.
All right.
I gotta watch Scott Pilgrim versus the World first. Anyway, but that's it for me on news. I've never seen it. That's supposed to be our next movie, so
sweet.
Gotta do that at some point.
Sweet.
But that's it for me on the news front. Do you have any other news other than Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6?
I guess the only other news I have is I have already reserved my tickets to go and see Spider-Man 3 because the day that we're recording this is the first day that Spider-Man tickets have been available. They're released on Cyber Monday or Spider Monday, as they called in the advertisements, or Spidey Monday. I don't know.
Spider
Anyway,
Monday makes more sense.
I'm going to be in Florida during that release week because I'll be at Disney World. So
Hey, nice.
that'll be pretty hyped. On that Thursday, I was like, we'll have some time. So let me go and reserve them for like opening night.
Did you reserve them for the ones at the park at downtown Disney?
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. That's gonna be a cool experience.
And it took me 6 show times to find one that had seats left. I booked it at 7 a.m. in the morning because I woke up at 7 a.m. for work. I was like, let me do that like right now before I forget. It took me 6 show times to find one that had like any seats left at all.
Well, I was gonna ask you if you we're gonna be in town for it, because we live up in Saskatchewan. I was gonna ask you if you're gonna be in town so that because I was gonna buy tickets, but I didn't know how many I wanted to buy.
All right.
Now that I know that, I still gotta ask RJ if he wants to go.
Sweet.
But last I checked, which was like this afternoon, the one not here but in the next town to the south that begins with that letter M and ends with that letter E. That for me, I can't say it.
Yes. Okay.
They still had him at like 3:00 in the afternoon. So.
I was going through like all the town names. I was like, what is he talking about? And I was like, okay.
Yeah, they still had show times at 3:00 in the afternoon. So hopefully we can get something. I'll text RJ a little bit later.
Yeah. It should be easier, like because like, even though you're close to a larger city, it's not anything like Florida, Orlando, like in the middle of Disney. It's something to sell fast, but not that fast.
Yeah.
Like, because I think tickets only became available at like 3 a.m. or whatever.
Oh, really?
Between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m., 4 hours in the middle of the night, early morning. Like, because like each theater has like about like 100 seats or something like that. The one I finally got,
it's not a big theater.
Like
the one in downtown.
The theater that I finally booked the tickets for, like the specific auditorium that was there, I think that theater had like 300 seats or something like that, because the map was like really big compared to like all of the other ones. That one had seats, fortunately.
Dude, that's gonna be insane.
That many people buying all of them. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because like Disney World in like late December, like mid-December is like already packed, and then you're gonna have all the Marvel fans down there, and then you're gonna be in the theater with 300 of them. That's gonna be a wild experience. It's gonna liken back to like when Endgame came out. You've seen all those videos for the reactions and stuff. That's gonna be awesome.
I'm so excited for the reactions because I mean, these are like the passionate. Like this is because it's one of the early show times for it still. So the people who are there really want to be there watching it. I'm hoping it won't be all that crowded in like the parks and everything, because it's still, I'm hoping it's early enough in December. I was looking at all the blogs, travel times. It's like that's kind of like the last solid week to be in there before it's hit hard with like all the tourists and everything. Something that everyone there, that it'll still be fun and not like jam packed.
Yeah, they always
especially with COVID stuff.
Yeah, they always say that between the week between the week of Christmas and the week of Thanksgiving is the best time to go because it's not crowded.
All right,
or not as crowded, obviously.
Sweet.
It's still Disney. It's crowded, but that'll be great. Be a great experience. Maybe
and then all of some stuff to share about like all the Star Wars rides and stuff on.
That's right.
I'm trying to hit up as many of those as possible. Although the Star, because like I have like the Disney app, and I've been
so do I.
I've been going through every morning to try to get a feel of which rides fill up the quickest on like the lightning lanes and the just standby lines and the reservation only things. A lot of the Star Wars stuff goes super fast.
Okay.
I mean, you get to like 9 a.m. or whatever, and there's like the line's like 3 hours long, and there's like no lightning lane options at all.
Brennan, my family is the kings and queens. We're royalty of Disney, and by that I mean we can literally get on anything, no matter what the wait or anything. We never waited long in line. Like last time I went, the longest I waited was 35 minutes, and that was spring break.
Wow.
Yeah.
How is that?
I'll let you know, because I'm not going to do it on the podcast. I mean, we could make a completely different podcast just for that. So I'll tell you after the podcast. I'll give you some hints and tips, and I'll send you stuff before you go.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. I am absolutely
and Steven,
interested in that. Yeah.
'cause Steven's been on the show. I can mention him by name.
Yeah.
Me and Steven, we went back in 2016,
Yeah.
and we rode 35 rides at 3 different parks in one day. So
35 rides.
yeah, different rides, and we rode a couple of them more than once.
Oh,
And the
wow.
longest I think we waited is 40 minutes. So we're pretty good. We're pretty good at Disney. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll definitely
Okay.
shoot you some tips.
All
But anyway, so that'll be fun for you. I gotta still get tickets for that. I should probably see Eternals first. Maybe I'll do that this week. I don't know. But anyway,
yes.
let's talk Hawkeye.
Let's talk Hawkeye.
So Hawkeye.
Yes.
All right. So
I really like the opening
scene.
Scene.
Right off the bat,
I just want to say that. Yeah.
It's gonna be my favorite show in the MCU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It feels like the Netflix shows, not as dark.
Yeah.
But to me, it definitely feels a lot more like the Netflix shows than that previous ones have.
You're absolutely right. Like it's still a lot more light and upbeat and like comedic, but in terms of like style, it definitely feels the most like the Netflix shows than anything we've gotten before. Now that we've gotten like a whole lot,
right?
Before there's only like 3 shows, but still, this has a different feel from all of the other ones.
Yeah, and like right off the bat, it threw you into. Was this right off the bat the flashback scene, or was it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So right off the bat, it throws you into a scene we've already seen before, but from a completely different angle, which I really liked.
It was done so well. Like I really, really like that other look, especially because so much of Marvel recently has been centered around the events of Infinity War and Endgame, with like everything referencing Thanos or the blip or whatever. It was really nice to get a reference to
alternate Loki. You know, that scene where they traveled. Yeah, exactly.
And it was neat to step away from that and step into a different reference point instead. It was just a breath of fresh air, and it was done so well. I love that they really spent the time getting these other looks at Hawkeye where they didn't just use the same scenes, but they like filmed new stuff or edited together new stuff where it was that same scene of him at the top of the tower firing the arrows from a different angle completely, and it showed the impact that had on someone else's life.
Right, and I think
her dad died, which sucked, but oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, but and it played, and I think just the whole show in general, but like especially in the very beginning, it plays off of and during the battle of New York, they definitely centered a lot more around Steve and Thor and Hulk and Iron Man because they have these big powers, but Natasha and Clint were there too, and then to see someone see Clint and that to have such a profound impact on their life was really cool because in the first Avengers movie, they are kind of side characters. Even though they are the main characters, they're kind of side main characters, They're not the ones that everyone's paying attention to. And I thought that was a cool way to kind of expose Kate Bishop or introduce Kate Bishop into the MCU as someone who's going to take over the Hawkeye mantle.
Yeah.
And then there was the funeral scene. And then the scene where she breaks the bell tower.
Yeah. That was a fantastic... Absolutely. It honestly was just it was perfect because it didn't feel unnatural or like fake or forced or like not a way like a real character would act. It felt like a genuine thing someone with those abilities would do.
Yeah.
And there were consequences for that, which is nice to see because a lot of the Marvel stuff will just have things like that happen and there's no consequences at all. So when we ultimately don't know how that will play out yet. But I'm pretty sure her mom just like paid for the bell tower, right?
Yeah. Well, that apartment they were in, oh my God, that's a giant apartment in New York. They have to be rich to live in something like that. Like,
oh yes. And let me just jump forward a tiny bit and like say that like anytime they were in a crowd of these really rich millionaires and I'm sure billionaires or whatever there, with all the rumors we've gotten, I was combing the background for Wilson Fisk the entire time.
Oh, dude, me too. I thought he was gonna appear already, or like during that black market auction scene. I thought he was gonna be there.
Yes, because
I was too.
From the rumors we've heard, or the big rumor that initially had mentioned Fisk said he would be in episode 4. He would have some role in episode 4, and that would kind of be his only involvement for right now in Marvel's episode 4 of Hawkeye. I don't necessarily expect to see him yet, but I'm still just holding out hope. Of course, I don't know if we're going to get him in episode 4 or not. It would be nice. I would like that. I think it's unlikely because a lot of rumors just pop up and stuff still, and they don't pan out. Yeah. But still, I am counting down the days until episode 4.
That's next
perhaps
week,
see him.
So
yeah,
it's coming up. It was weird that they chose to do in a 6 episode series to release the first 2 on the first day.
Yeah,
but I mean, whatever.
I mean, it was nice. I'm not complaining, and I know that the reason that they did that was just because if they started the series at the same time, but released them all one by one, then it would overlap with the Book of Boba Fett exactly. So they had to. I don't know why they didn't just shift the release window back. One, maybe because it's like a Christmas themed series, so they wanted to have it
get it done
as close to Christmas time as possible. So like Thanksgiving is kind of like the start of the Christmas season, so they didn't want to release it much before that. But I don't mind because it was really neat just to get to see 2 episodes right back to back immediately, just like what they did with WandaVision when they first released that. How they had the 2 episodes. It helps you get immersed more in the series initially, and then kind of you're more excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah. And before we go any further, Haley Steinfeld's incredible. She's already just encapsulated Kate Bishop so well, and she plays the role amazingly, and she's so funny. She delivers everything great, and during the Loki show, a lot of people were simping for Loki. Now I think it's everyone's attention has slowly moved to Kate Bishop. At least that's what the online discourse has said. But
sweet.
Yeah, no, she's been great so far. So anyway, so she knocks down the bell tower. She finds out who her real friends are because her friends split at the moment it starts to come down.
But like, honestly, what do you do in that situation?
No, you're right.
Honestly, if you just hang out with some friends and friends was like, hey, watch this, and they actually destroyed a building on campus.
Yeah, you're right. Especially if their parents are the millionaire, the one who knocked down the tower. Yeah, you're right. I guess you do run. It's like, I don't have that kind of money.
I do not have the time to get tied up in like all this here. I am bolting.
I gotta go study. Sorry.
Yeah.
But after that, I think we got where did they go after that? Was it her mom's place? Or no, we were with Clint and his kids.
Yeah, when they're at Rogers the musical, which honestly, fantastic. I didn't know what to expect, but like that somehow perfectly encapsulated. Just like in my opinion, I don't know what the current online views towards it is, but I thought it encapsulated just like a bad Broadway musical so perfectly.
Yeah,
just like not a good like top tier Broadway musical, something that someone would like put on Broadway just like a quick cash grab, and that's like it.
Right.
And it was so fun to watch. It was so fun and entertaining just to see that. I'm really hoping that they like release the song that they had in there just as like a song to like stream. It wasn't like a good song, but it was like a funny song. It was such a funny song just to hear. Especially when like all the characters were like introducing themselves one by one. That was golden. And I understand Hawkeye so perfectly, just like being there, like, why did they make this? This is just almost painful for him to watch. And then they had like Ant-Man in there, I think. What is it? Is it seriously?
Yeah, they have it up on
Oh my god, it's actually available for streaming.
Yeah, it is. I had to
That's
make sure,
actually
but
that
I
is
would play it now, but
incredible.
obviously I don't want to get demonetized or anything. But yeah, it's up for streaming. If
Sure.
you should Save the City, if you just look up Hawkeye on
Yep.
it's on Apple Music, so I mean it should be on
It's on
Spotify.
Spotify. Yep. I just checked on Spotify as well. That is great.
Yeah, so it's Adam
Honestly.
Pascal, Ty Taylor, Rory Donovan, Derek Klena, Bonnie Milligan, Christopher Sieber, and Shina Steele. All of apparently Adam Pascal was in Rent, so they
Oh,
actually got like legit, a
step down
legit.
for him. I thank you, but
I actually appreciate that they got an actual Broadway star
yeah.
to do that. But
Oh man,
yeah, it
that's
was really
fantastic.
funny when they said Ant-Man wasn't even there, and then they panned to Ant-Man. It's like what?
And at first, I didn't even realize who that was supposed to be, and I was like, oh yeah, that is Ant-Man there.
Well,
Um,
I like how they
I've
put
seen.
Hawkeye. No, go ahead.
Oh yeah. No, I was gonna say that like I've seen some speculation that the reason that Ant-Man is there is because Ant-Man had traveled back in time with
Oh,
them for Endgame. But I don't know
uh-huh.
if I necessarily like that explanation, especially because the events of like that timeline aren't supposed to even interfere
Yeah, in the same.
with that timeline at all. What I much prefer, which I think is so much funnier, is just like the fact checking was so bad. In when they were writing the script for that show, they were like, "Yeah, Ant-Man was probably there. Ant-Man was probably around. Let's just include him."
He
I
was so
said, I,
small we couldn't see him.
I think that's so much funnier than it being like just an indication of the timeline getting messed up. Just they just like didn't check their facts. They're like, yeah, Ant-Man was just there probably.
That's a great. I actually like that explanation a lot. He's small. He definitely could have been there.
Yeah. Oh
Um.
man.
Uh. Yeah, and then I like how like like we all know that Hawkeye was wearing like a black suit when he did all that. I like how they just kind of projected that he was wearing purple.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? I like that
Yeah,
because
that was so funny too. They just made like all of the characters like it's really like very comic booky versions of the characters,
yeah,
which makes sense. But like
right,
especially with like Hawkeye, they're like, oh, we'll just give him purple just
yeah,
to make
because
him
otherwise you
appear
can't
more on
distinguish him.
stage.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was great. It was great. And then how they had like there was like Loki who was just in there like right next to Thor the entire time too.
yeah,
And it's like, why was he singing with the heroes? But like, it's just it was so funny. I really went and watched that specific scene because that was just great. That was
yeah.
great.
I'm surprised they did it that early, but it makes sense to me that they did it that early.
Yeah.
And then they what was it? They went after during that scene got up, he left. He's like, I can't do this anymore, and he went to the bathroom where on the stall it said Thanos was right.
Which I I love that. I've seen some debate online if like that was like if like it was supposed to be like a comedic thing or like a serious thing, but like
Mhm.
because I mean Thanos was right was a meme from like our world
Right,
after like Infinity War and Endgame were out and everything, and it's so powerful because like it doesn't mean anything. It's so inconsequential because the characters we're looking at are fake. They're not real. The story isn't
right.
real. But just for people in universe, kind of view it with that same like like uh just like a meme spirit, but
Mhm.
like not like a fun meme, but like those like edgy memes
Mhm.
that some kids use that like lead them down like alt-right pipelines and like like not necessarily just that but like just like that like that like gets you thinking weird things.
Almost conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
just for someone like Hawkeye who like lived through all that and he saw like the pain that Thanos caused, just seeing that thing
Like,
that I'm sure some like punk kid just wrote like Wally was like high or whatever just
yeah,
on the stall and him being like, oh my god.
like he was being chased by Thanos' hellhounds while he had the gauntlet in his hand. He watched Stark die trying to
Yeah.
defeat Thanos, and then he goes into a bathroom and is like, Thanos is right. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah, so I really liked that scene. I thought it was like so perfect, especially it shows like how quickly the world in this universe recovers from like tragic stuff like that. I mean, like we've seen it a lot in the other films, like in Spider-Man, like the blip was joked about uh a lot of times. And we've
Well,
seen a
and
lot
then
of how the earth recovers so quickly, but just for Hawkeye to like be like, guys, we really shouldn't be taking this as lightly here. This sucked.
right. Well, and then
I
in
just
Falcon and the
really
Winter
thought that was
Soldier,
neat.
that was the
Yeah.
whole Carly Morgenthau, that was her whole thing. It's like, let's, we were here too. People who came back for the blip are not the only people left, and then they just kind of went down, like you said, they went down this path to terrorism.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thinking that, oh no, I'm right, but
yeah, exactly. That ties right into, because I actually can't remember if they specifically believe that like Thanos's actions were right or not, but like they definitely believe that the world was a better place
right
after Thanos had removed half of all life.
Yeah.
So it's kind of had exact same thing.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they're going to tackle it in this street level show where it's a kind of, it's not really a street level, or they didn't even tackle it. They just kind of mentioned it in a street level show.
Yeah.
Even though it's like a more of a worldwide thing, but it kind of shows how, how local it can get. I mean, Hawkeye, like I said, he walked into the same bathroom that where some punk kid wrote that there,
Yeah.
And then the tension was eased by someone asking him while using the bathroom for a selfie.
Yeah, and then he would not leave him alone, which honestly, like, and that's not like an uncharacteristic thing for like a fan like that
right
to do. So it just but like you knew where the fan was coming from, and you knew exactly where Hawkeye was coming from too. You're like, Hawkeye does not want to have to deal with this right now at all.
right
And like the fan was like, just please, I just want this one thing. And so obviously Hawkeye rightfully did not let the fan take a picture of him in the bathroom.
Well, and then after that's
left,
right
yes.
as he's being wroth with emotion from seeing that Thanos thing. So
he's
kind of not really in the mood right now,
no,
to say the least. But and then after that, I think they just left and went to like a diner or something, had some food.
I will say probably the most unrealistic part of that was that in the bathroom, the only piece of graffiti was that one Thanos was right thing, and that's it. There was no other graffiti anywhere else. There was only that one piece.
For the record, they were in like a Broadway, like
yeah.
I don't know. I've never been to Broadway, so I don't know.
But like the fact that there was that one piece, so like it's not like the bathroom was clear of graffiti. There was that one piece of graffiti, but there was also no other graffiti anywhere else.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, it was a nice scene. Like also, I was gonna say the scene before he went out in the bathroom where it like they were all singing on stage, and then like it was time for Black Widow to sing like her piece.
Oh
and
yeah,
he turned off his hearing aid, so he just couldn't hear it.
And then his daughter was like, "Dad, did you turn off the hearing aid?" And he's like, "What? No."
What was that? Sorry, turn off my hearing aid. What were you asking? But yeah, and then because they're really reminding us that like, not that like there has been a lot of time for us to forget or like just not remember, but like Hawkeye and like Black Widow were close friends.
Yes,
I mean they were best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that like we know that her sister is at some point going to try to like attack or kill Hawkeye because she believes he killed her.
Mm-hmm.
That just breaks my heart, man.
Oh yeah. No, it's gonna come full circle at some point. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough for Hawkeye and the audience,
Yeah.
But what happens next? They went to the diner, got some food. Or was it the auction? Yeah,
because it went to them eating out at a restaurant, and then the waiter at one point brought the owner of the restaurant, they like brought them extra stuff, or was like, here's a token of our appreciation. Hawkeye was like, look, I don't want this.
Oh yeah, they tried to pay for the meal. That's what it was.
Yeah.
the restaurant. He's like, it's on the house, and Hawkeye's like, no, please don't do
Yeah.
that. I would
Yeah.
like
Like
to pay for you. Pay
Hawkeye's
for
like,
this.
you don't understand. I don't want to be a superhero here. I
Right.
just want to be a guy. I want to put this stuff kind of behind me and continue on with like leading a normal life.
Right.
And the guy's like, no, 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 you are a famous superhero.
We
Hawkeye's like,
insist.
okay. Yeah.
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 And then like, we go to Kate Bishop with her mom, who's now who's now with some boyfriend, which we later
Yes.
find out is his fiance, but we don't know
Yes.
that yet. And she
No.
clearly does not like this guy.
Yes. I
Um,
was super happy when I found out who the dude is like supposed to be comic book wise and all that.
who?
We don't have to get to that right now.
Oh,
We can
okay. No, okay.
get to
That's
it
fine.
later on the road, but I just wanted to put that out here because I will forget to mention it
Okay.
otherwise. So just remind me once we
I
get
will
to
remind
the
you.
next episode at
Okay.
some point here.
Yeah. So then we go to them, and then I think then we go to the
Yeah, well,
dinner,
because
or not. There's more that happens. I just don't really remember.
yeah, because like one of the things that I don't necessarily like about the series is just like the pacing with Kate Bishop's own personal life seems to be a bit more off than the rest of the series does. And
Yeah.
I think it's just because like the rest of the series is like, oh, established stuff in like in the universe here, established characters, established events, and stuff with Kate Bishop
That's true.
is like all new. So having to try to like balance it all together. And they're doing a good job, I think, all things considered, but still the pacing just seems off with like how they introduce things in her own life. I mean, it still works for the most part. It just seems weirder.
Yeah, is this the first time we've gotten like an established character and then a brand new character like playing equal parts, and not in the show? Because I mean, in Loki we got Sylvie, but Sylvie didn't play as big of a part until the end, and we never really got any background on her until
Yeah.
the end. Yeah, and the end of the show. Falcon and the Winter
Probably,
Soldier
yeah.
were always there, and then Wanda and Vision were. We got Monica.
Technically, Vision was a new Vision.
Okay, well, yeah.
But yeah.
And then we got another
this
new
is
Vision. He was only there for like a second.
yeah, this is and like I mean, what's technically the new Vision was the old Vision.
Yeah.
But yeah. But like
it's the first time, right?
It's difficult to kind of compare these dynamics. For like each show has had its own unique new dynamic here. But yeah,
Like they've
Yeah.
had a new
you're right.
character or like a new, like they've introduced something, but never at like the same. Because like I almost like this show
is
is
a balanced show.
is around Hawkeye, but I almost feel like
Yeah.
it's Kate Bishop's show.
Because it's so weird because like they're both Hawkeye technically. Like
Right.
like we have what's his name?
Clint.
Clint. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is Hawkeye right now.
Right.
But what we know, because we've know more
Prior
comic-y
knowledge,
stuff,
yeah, comic.
yeah,
Yeah.
is that Kate Bishop becomes the new Hawkeye. So when
Right.
it says Hawkeye, who is it talking about? It's talking about both of them,
Mhm.
technically. But it's like who's the show who is it referring to here?
Right. And
So-
right now, because maybe because we've had so much time with Kate Bishop, because they have to develop her story a little bit, I almost feel like the show right now is hers.
Yeah.
But it's kind of leaning to where it's going to kind of almost be a 50-50 split, because now, from what we know from, like ads and stuff like that, is they're going to eventually come together to follow one story instead of two separate stories.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a unique show in that sense. And also that it's, our first like true street level one.
Mhm.
But so they go to the ball or like the charity event or whatever.
There's one scene
Just
in
between
wait,
them.
no. Yeah, you're right, because it goes straight from the apartment and like her mom's like, oh, there's like a dress for you. I've like pulled out a dress, just come and spend time with the charity charity gathering with us here. And then she just shows up in like a tux instead,
Which was a
just
baller
looked-
move, in my opinion.
it looked like the way the light was, it just looked all black. Like
Yeah.
I could not differentiate between like the layers of the tux. It just looked like black.
She rocked
but like
she rocked the shit out of
oh,
that suit.
oh yeah. it was so funny how they kept mistaking her for
Wait, staff.
a waiter though. But yeah,
That
I
was
mean,
funny.
yeah. And then the Armand the third, that was what his
Yes.
name was, right? He
Yeah.
Kim started talking to her. When first I was like, who is this guy?
I guess he's just like friends with Kate's mom, I guess, or Kate's
Yeah.
dad.
Which
Armand the
also,
3, and then he mentioned Armand the 7th.
yeah. So I was like, how old is he too?
Yeah,
Because to have uh because he'd have to be I'm pretty sure I know how like the lines and everything work. Like if I do, he would have to have a great grandson who is Armand the 7th. So I don't know how old he was. I would be a little worried he was going to die from old age soon had he not
yeah.
later been stabbed. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Hawkeye, but if you haven't seen Hawkeye, I don't know why you're
Well, I was
listening to
just
us
saying this.
just
The spoiler
end up
alert, like
talking about it.
obvious by this point. Like we've
Yeah,
already
yeah.
talked about the episode in quite a great amount of depth, almost
yeah.
too much because this podcast is gonna be at least 2.5 hours long.
I hope not.
But,
because that would be longer than both episodes of Hawkeye we've seen so far combined.
yeah,
That would be a lot. We should just get like a play-by-play. But then she talks to her mom some, and then like the dude's there, I think, and she does not like him
no,
at first here. And then Armand says something about how he doesn't like him either.
no, he doesn't like her mom.
Oh, he does. Oh, yeah. That was. I thought that was so weird. I was like, why would you be talking to this girl and just be like, I don't like your mom?
Right. Yeah.
That just seemed so
that's
unusual
right.
for me. He was
Right,
like, oh,
yeah.
yeah, I like your mom's fiance, but I do not like her.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he
And
can do better. Like, what? That's my mom.
And it wasn't like he said it in passing. He said it like 3 times during this conversation.
To her face.
Yeah. And like he knew who she was. It's not like he was confused.
Right. Because like I'm pretty sure he called her out by name at first.
Yeah, and he was the one who told her that her mom was engaged to this guy. Because at first she thought it was,
which she didn't know. That made her mad.
Yes. And I was coming in the background for Wilson Fisk the entire time. Just as I was walking by.
MCU fans are fun because like everyone's looking back. Oh, that could be a character. Oh, that could be a character too. But
there was at one point where there's like a list of names. Oh, it was like on the apartment building that she goes to later on. It was just a list of names of people who were like living in the apartment. And I tried to like glance at a couple. I was like, I know there's an Easter egg in here. I know somehow like I'm not gonna be able to recognize it, but there has to be an Easter egg somewhere in this giant list of names. Right. There's no way Marvel would not seize that opportunity.
Right. So we'll jump ahead a little bit because we're obviously getting caught up in very minor scenes. But
she goes to her mom.
Later on, they go to
somehow. Her mom says, "I don't know what her mom said," but
she's like, "Go back upstairs, come join us, whatever."
Yeah, the party. She goes out to get some air.
Yes.
She sees a dog.
She was mad. And her mom was engaged and didn't tell her.
There was a dog. I do not understand the dog. I'm going to be
Lucky the dog.
Honest, I have no idea. Like, I get that Marvel likes to add animals where they can because animals are cute. People like animals, but I do not understand the dog's role at all. Why the dog kept popping up.
We'll learn.
Okay. It just, unless this dog is like a person turned into an animal, I don't understand why. Just because there's one scene where the dog just goes and attacks a bad guy, but like, where did he come from and why did he attack this random dude? He doesn't know anything about here in a way that helped Kate out so perfectly.
Dogs know. But anyway,
so bizarre.
So
this dog, he did not show violence to anyone else, and he just charges this one dude
by himself.
He did not know. Yeah,
the dude's by himself, just chilling.
Yeah.
But so anyway,
the dog or anything.
So then she finds the black market.
Yeah, she she says hi to the dog, and then the dog goes away.
Runs across the street, almost gets hit several times.
Yeah, and she's like, goodbye, dog. And then she goes back inside. And before she finds the black market area, she like sees her mom in the office with Armand.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like really loud. And then I remember there's something specific that was said. I think I don't remember it, but then her mom comes out. Her mom comes out, and she's like, "Did he threaten you?" And her mom was like, "I don't know what he was talking about. Obviously hiding something, I think." Or her mom, the character, is just the worst at describing things. Because either you're hiding something or you just don't know how to interact with other people. Because the way she talked made it sound like she was hiding something in a major way. But then after that, she follows Armand the Third down to the auction place, and she poses as waitstaff because she looks like waitstaff,
Right.
kind of. Because they have to wear all black, and like she's in a nice like a tuxedo, but it's still all black,
All
so
black,
she just
yeah.
blends in well. She grabs like a plate and just walks through.
And the scene where, and this is jumping ahead just a little bit, but the scene where like the head of the wait staff comes out, who just happens to have the same name that she made up.
That was
But I thought that was so funny.
That was so perfect. I love that.
And
that
then like comes up and she's
such
like,
a great thing.
And he's like, "What's your name?" And she's like, "You can't even remember my name."
Yeah.
Fine, I quit. I can't do this anymore. That was such a great scene.
It made me love Kate Bishop so much.
Right?
Just the character, that was perfect.
Just like, absolutely perfect.
What do you do in that when you approach an employee that you're pretty sure isn't an employee of yours? And they're like, "God, you can't remember my name. You don't even know who I am, do you? I quit." It's like, what do you do in that situation?
What just happened? Who is this person? Why did they just quit on me? It was such a great scene. But anyway, so she's spying on Armand and the other guy whose name I can't remember. And apparently did we find out then that they're like uncle and nephew or something like that? Or did we find that out later?
I think so.
Yeah, but we find out they're related at some point.
And it was funny because at the auction, they really did not seem to like each other that much. And they both wanted the Ronin sword a lot for some reason.
Well, we knew the one guy. Well, we knew the fiance like collected swords.
Yes.
Or we find out later, rather.
Yes.
They hinted at it when Kate was first at the apartment because there were swords everywhere and she didn't know why. But
actually, let me get into this right now then, because I
think it just hit me what you're about to say. Yeah,
he is sword master. I believe is like the dude's
swordsman.
Yeah. Swordsman. I don't know why I said swords master.
That would make more sense than just calling yourself sword master or swordsman. It's his eye, swordsman. Which swordsman?
I discovered that in between watching episodes 1 and 2, and after I found that out, I was like looking at episode 1, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And episode 2 was really neat, especially the whole scene where like
they fence.
They're fencing. Jumping ahead a little bit here, but then when she was like, "You're holding back," and I know it, I was like, "Oh yeah, he is holding back. That's his whole thing. Is use swords." Because I would have not gotten that exchange honestly, because Kate was so certain he was holding back, and we had not seen him use the sword before at all.
Right.
So if I hadn't seen that, I'd been like, "Kate, what do you think he's holding back so much, huh?"
But
yeah,
didn't
knowing that he is going to be a villain here, that made a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. So Armand the Third gets the sword.
Yeah,
and then doesn't he?
But he has to pay a lot more for it because the only two people bidding are him and then his nephew. He keeps looking over at the nephew. He's like, "Stop bidding! I want this sword."
You can stop doing that now.
Yeah. But Armand wins still, right?
Yeah, I think. No, did he win anything? I don't think he did.
I thought Armand won.
Oh yeah, Armand won.
Yeah. All right.
But then
was there an item up for bid before the sword?
There was like was it a Shatari skull?
I don't remember.
Something to do with the Battle of New York.
Yeah, you're right. It did. I don't remember what that. I'm sure it doesn't matter all that much.
This show feels even more like the old Netflix shows because of how much it references the Battle of New York, like the other ones did too. Like,
you're right.
Anyway, but so then they go. Do you remember the Ronin sword retracting in Endgame? I don't.
I think so.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
I'm sure there's one scene I remember where it retracted, but that looked neat.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know, like that's physically not possible for that to happen, but they have nanotech.
Yeah,
They have nanotech, so I'm not going to question it.
yeah.
I like how you can explain everything off in the MCU. Is like, oh, it's nanotech. Like, oh, okay, that makes
Oh, yeah.
sense. But so then they go on to the Ronin suit, and that's when the tracksuit mafia, which stellar name. I love that name so
Oh,
much because
yes.
it's so dumb. The
Yes.
I think it's the tracksuit mafia. They bomb the place. They come in. They try to steal the Ronin
Like,
suit and sword.
literally, as it's up for auction, I don't know if you hear the shake or whatever before, but then the truck just comes through the wall
Yeah,
and like knocks everything around. And like I was like, oh, it's gonna be some like lame tie-in here where they're trying to go for the Ronin suit, and that's how things get started. And then they were like, look for the watch, and I was like, wait a minute, what
yeah. They're just
watch?
looking for the watch. Yeah, it's
So I really like
didn't the watch
how
have some sort of significance though? I don't remember what it was though.
I don't I don't know either, but like the Ronin suit wasn't involved directly in that way. It was only involved when Kate Bishop was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put it on and like act
Like these
all
people, yeah.
yeah," which I thought was neat because they could have just had it be an easy like, "Oh, it's about Ronin entirely," but they
Uh-huh.
like only they added him indirectly, which I thought was a lot nicer. Do we know what the watch is yet? Because we like saw it
I
once, but like
thought we did.
I
Hold on, let me look.
I I couldn't remember anything. I haven't looked it up. I can't remember
You stall for
from
time
any
while I look it
other.
up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't remember any other movie that like referenced a watch. Um, there's probably something I'm I'm missing. Well, there would have to be something I'm missing if it turns out this is something that we're supposed to know about. But maybe it's just a
Right.
new item that like they added in. Uh, but yeah, they're looking for it, and they're just taking like bags of stuff, like duffel bags full of auction stuff out. Um,
Real quick. Apparently during Kate Bishop, like when Kate Bishop was on the phone with her friend Greer, apparently in the comics, Greer Grant is the alter ego of Tigra, who is a moniker who is a bad guy of the West Coast Avengers in the comics.
oh,
So
interesting.
anyway, sorry. Thanos is right. Time of story. Oh my god, it's so far down.
What was I saying? Yeah, but then she puts on the suit and starts to fight these guys. She's kind of skilled and also kind of not skilled, where she's
Oh, the
learned a lot of stuff
watch.
but hasn't actually had application of it yet. So it's neat to see the balance of her fight, where it's
Right.
kind of like, oh, do I know what I'm doing? Do I not know what I'm doing?
So people think it's the watch that Tony turned into his glove when Bucky shot him in Civil War. Not Civil War. No, yeah, Civil War. Here, let me just show you this quick
Interesting.
screen cap. This one.
Oh,
Yeah. That's what people were thinking.
why would the tracksuit mafia want that specific watch though? Just because of the
Because it's
nanotech it
Tony Stark's, I
has?
guess.
I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
there'd be easier ways to get your hands on nanotech, but maybe not. Maybe this really was the easiest way.
I guess. I don't know. That's just
Interesting.
speculation. That's just what people on the internet are saying. As people on the internet, are we ever right? But anyway, so yeah, so she has engages in a pretty badass fight. Um, that was cool, and she struggled a little bit with some of the guys. I like that she struggled a little bit. That was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she ultimately did win. I think she pulled off a couple cool
Yeah.
moves.
Oh, yeah. And she got out, up the alley where where there was that one dude who was sitting there who may have stopped her, but fortunately, by some strange coincidence, he was being attacked by a random dog that Kate had happened to have seen earlier that day.
Well, it's called his name is Lucky the dog. So I mean, it's lucky that he was right place, right time.
Mm-hmm.
But then she's seen by the news, and that's when Hawkeye, or that's when Clint
Yeah.
catches wind that someone's out there using the Ronin suit.
Oh, no, because then the dog runs out in the road and she does this like the backflip thing over cars,
That's
like
right.
save
Yeah.
him from getting hit by a car. And then she's on the news like that. And then they're like,
Yeah.
the Ronin is back.
And Clint's like, huh?
And
No, I'm not.
the Ronin came back to save a single dog, and we'll see him again in 5 years. But yeah, so Clint sees that on the news. I think that's where that's not where the episode ends.
No, there's still a lot left in this
Yeah,
episode.
she goes back to her apartment. She drops off the dog. She goes to visit Armand because she wants more information on him.
Yeah.
And then he's dead. He's been stabbed. He's dead. And then she's like, uh-oh, and then she just leaves.
And then she saw it, and then she's seen leaving the house, which we find out later.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
but
then that's when she gets attacked by the mafia, right?
Yeah, the mafia comes up and is like, "Hey, you're the Ronin. You are definitely the super skilled fighter who decimated our organization a couple of years ago, because we can tell because of how unskilled you are now. You're definitely the same person."
100%.
So then she's kind of trying to escape, being moderately successful. Probably would have gotten wrecked if Hawkeye had not shown up
and beaten the living shit out of them.
Yeah, so Hawkeye shows up and then takes her, and then he's like, "Who are you?" And he rips off her mask and is about to like punch her, and then she's like, and then he's like, "Oh wait, you're like an early 20s somethings girl here who looks very scared and impressed and whatever here." And she's like, "You're Hawkeye. Hey, what's up, man?" And he's like, "Who are you?"
Her reaction to him being there was great. It's like, "Oh my God, you're Hawkeye."
Yeah.
You almost punched me in the face.
Yeah. Which, I mean, what are the odds of that? What are the odds of like you idolizing Hawkeye as a child, him inspiring you to like learn bow and arrow, or archery, I guess it's called. It's not called bow and arrow.
I learned a bow and arrow today.
And then like he just shows up. You're like, "Oh my God, nice." Was there any?
And then he brings her back home, right?
Well, that was the next episode. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else in episode 1.
No, that's where it left off, right?
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to think if there's anything that I skipped over that I wanted to talk about.
Oh,
I don't think that there was, though. Although it is funny just how dumb the tracksuit mafia is, because like in this episode, they completely mistook someone who just put on the outfit for
the real
for like the vigilante who like completely wrecked their criminal organization however long ago here. And then the very next episode, they think they found and captured Hawkeye when he was just standing still waiting for them specifically.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Like it's so funny. They're just so dumb. It's so perfect.
Yeah, that was really funny. It's like they just like show up and started. He's just standing. He's like, "Wait, what are you guys doing?"
Yeah. Yes.
I promised to meet you here.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so
yeah.
Right,
so
I guess that brings us to episode 2.
Yeah, just initial thoughts about this episode without episode 2. I thought it was a really solid start.
Great start,
for the series. It got right into the action. It had enough time for like an introduction, and then it got straight into things.
Yeah, I think.
Although I cannot believe the tracksuit mafia is going to be such a big role in this movie, because again, or this show. The tracksuit mafia is so just, their name is stupid. Their outfits are stupid. They are not intelligent people. It's so funny that there's such a major role of this series. Like they're a main component of over half of this series here, because we know they're gonna have a big role in the next episode as well. The fact that over half this episode is devoted to just them being the bad guys.
Did you notice they're Russian? I don't know if that has any connections with Black Widow or anything, but same. They're Russian, or at least the one guy was. Also, do you think that if Wilson Fisk ends up having involvement in the series, if we'll see him more of just being a wealthy character, or like a crime character, I guess I'll call him, because obviously Wilson Fisk is like huge in both of the
both of the worlds here.
Yeah.
It
I
could be
think
easy just to say, oh, there's a lot of wealthy stuff, so we'll see him in there. But like also a lot of what he's been doing in Daredevil was like recruiting mobs to be
right.
under him. So we
Right.
could easily see him involved with the tracksuit mafia as well, I think. So do you have a feeling of which way it might go if he is even in here?
Yeah, I think in this show we'll probably see him more of, we'll see him from the outside, whereas he's just kind of, you'll see him at the rich stuff, and then later on it'll be revealed that he's part. Like,
All right.
then we'll see him kind of in that, but more of kind of a puppet master kind of thing.
All right.
And then in
Okay,
Echo,
okay.
they'll expand upon it.
All
Maybe he'll be
right.
like the main antagonist of Echo, and we'll just kind of get an
Interesting.
introduction here.
Interesting.
And he'll be more of himself in the Echo show than we will here. Then, so yeah. First impressions, like right off the bat, I love this show. Like, and I love WandaVision. You know how much I love WandaVision. I will go to bat
Yeah.
for WandaVision, no matter what. But I think this show might overtake it.
All right. Interesting.
It'll just be weird if I go back to rewatch it in the middle, like June. Christmas vibes going on, so I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. But the first episode was definitely a great start.
Yeah. Then the next episode starts, and she says, "I'm Kate Bishop," or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I really do like the role that like Hawkeye is playing here. Like Hawkeye is definitely a lot more strategic than like I think all of the other Marvel shows we've gotten, and that includes the Netflix ones and the Disney Plus ones. Because I feel like a lot of the main heroes in like all of those shows make really easy mistakes. Mm-hmm. And Hawkeye obviously he's had a lot more experience than any other hero that we've seen. I think all of the heroes.
Yeah, probably. At least in the shows, yeah.
Yeah, in shows.
He's been there the longest. He's been there since Avengers. Or Thor.
The one exception might be the Punisher. Because I know that he served in the Marines for like a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
But I really do think Hawkeye has had the most experience out of everyone.
Right, because he used the shield before. Maybe Black Widow.
Well, yeah, I'm just talking about heroes who have like been in shows.
Oh, in shows, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Then, yeah. Him or the Punisher for sure, yeah.
But yeah, because
Jessica Jones just kind of got her powers. Luke Cage just kind of got his powers.
Yeah.
Did we ever get an explanation as to how Luke Cage got his powers?
Yes, we did it in the Luke Cage series. I think halfway through the first season.
Okay,
or maybe it's
been too long since
second
season.
That, so he was experimented on while he was in prison, or maybe not experimented on. I think that someone.
You're right. You're right.
I think he was dying, and someone tried to save his life, and they gave him powers by saving his life.
That's right. I do remember.
Or he was experimented on. I don't remember which, but he was in prison.
Because did he?
And it happened then.
Out of prison or something?
He broke out after he got his powers.
Yeah. That's right. I remember that now.
Because I think he was like about to die.
Yeah.
And then he got the powers.
Well, what about Sam? He was in the military too, but I guess it was different. He wasn't flying in the military.
Yeah. And no, like he was flying in the military.
Okay, but not with like a wingsuit. He was flying airplanes.
No. He was flying in like a wingsuit.
Oh, that's right. That's how they even got the idea for the wingsuit. That's right. You're right.
Yeah, that was the whole reveal where he initially introduced himself as he flew, and then he appears in the wingsuit for Captain America, and like he was like, "Oh, I never said I flew planes."
That's true. You're right. You're right.
But yeah, still, I don't think Sam would have had the same experience. Because I guess we are getting a bit off topic here. One more thing with the off-topic stuff is like the same people who experimented, or the same organization that experimented on Jessica Jones and gave her powers just as an experimentation, like accidentally almost, were the same ones who gave Luke Cage's powers.
That's right.
On purpose. But we never find that out until like much later on in each of the shows, I don't think.
Right. And again, just shout out to Jessica Jones. That show's not talked about enough, especially that first season. It was incredible.
I rewatched Jessica Jones recently, and I got like halfway through the first season. I was like, oh
It's
man,
so good.
I forgot how good this was. Like, why don't I rewatch this more? And I got to the second half of season 1. I was like, oh, this is why, because it's so
Yeah,
frustrating to watch this. Like
it's hard. It's a
it's
hard
so
watch,
good.
but
It's
it's so
done
good.
so well, but like so many tragic things happen. I think like episode 10 was like the worst, where like nothing
Yeah,
goes right and everything goes wrong in like super like major ways.
it's trauma. It's a
But
traumatizing show to watch, but
oh,
it's so good.
absolutely. Like
Kristen Ritter
Kill
and David Tennant.
Kilgrave was so good. He's probably one of my favorite villains in all of Marvel.
Yeah, David Tennant killed it as Kilgrave. He was so good, so
But
good.
like that second half of Jessica Jones almost highlights perfectly what I'm talking about with like Hawkeye, is like where like the hero could like double check things or make sure to stay in contact with people or do all this stuff, but then does not do that, and then it leads to like bad stuff happening because they're not like keeping an eye out on all sides or leaving things
Right.
unprotected or unguarded. But like Hawkeye makes sure to cover all of his bases at all times. Like he makes sure she's okay. He's makes sure she's treating her wounds right. He's like, did you ever come back here? Is there any way to trace your identity back to you at all? He's like, I'll be in touch. Here's my contact information. He's like just keeping an eye out on everything. Like he's doing a really, really great job of being like somebody who won't mess things up because he's
Right.
inept or forgetful or is, like messed up here. And I really like that. I really like that, like no bad things are happening because he's messed up. Like he's experienced and now things are easier for him because of his experience.
Yeah. So episode 2.
Yeah.
So we start off.
That's what I was gonna say is like because he's like in her apartment or whatever, looking at like the wounds. I think it might not happen until later on. Maybe it was that first scene, but like
No, because remember they went to the store first.
yeah, they went to the store, then they came back
Because she was like
wounds or whatever.
That's right. Because he was like,
or was that after? Which house was that? Because I know that.
No,
spoiler alert: her apartment gets destroyed here, and I know that they do some stuff at her aunt's apartment as well. I can't remember.
Oh no, you're right. No,
Happens
they go back to her apartment first. They meet the dog.
Yes.
And then that's when they get attacked.
Yes, because that's when Hawkeye's like, I need to be absolutely sure. Could anybody know who you are or about this place or anything? I'm like, I feel like a lot of other heroes would not take that step. No. They would just assume like, oh, we're fine, we're back here, we're safe, we can relax. Hawkeye's like, I need to make sure.
Right.
And then
because he's trying to cover his tracks with the Ronin because of all the terrible things he did as the Ronin.
But like he's also wanting to make sure that she is safe as well, because like he could easily not be involved at all with this and no one would be able to trace it back to him. But like he's trying to make sure that she is safe.
Right.
So then because he's like, there's no way they could trace you back here, and he's like go through everything you did just so we can know for sure. She's like, well, yeah, I came back here in the Ronin suit, and she's like, oh, wait a minute, and like they hear the voices outside. That was such a great
because there's a name on the door.
I love that scene. Yeah, that was so funny. When she was like, yeah, there's no way anyone can trace me back here, I just came back here in the Ronin suit. Oh, wait a minute.
And my name was on the door, and then you hear
outside right immediately.
Bishop.
Yes. And then there's the great scene where like they start to throw in the Molotov cocktails and fire starts to spread, and then like Hawkeye goes up and he breaks the window so he can catch one as it's coming in and toss it back out.
That's a great
them.
That
cool. Was fantastic. Like I remember seeing in the ad, it's nice. In the ad, I was like, this is going to be a cool scene.
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on one moment here. I'll be right back.
Holding.
You can stall.
I've decided I'm just gonna edit that part out. Because
that's probably fair.
I'm bad at it. I can't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, sorry. Yeah,
I'm bad at stalling.
I just had to see what was up because my roommate just arrived back, and I heard her like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, and so I was like, "Let me just step in and see what's going on." And like I had heard like our cat being like active, but I was like, Clementine's the name of the cat. I was like, Clementine just active a lot sometimes, and went out, and there was just a mouse lying dead, and like Clementine just standing over the mouse because Clementine had been like racing around like the baseboards of like the kitchen and some other areas just recently here, and so like my roommate was like, there has to be something that's like living behind the baseboards.
Yeah.
And it turned out that there was, and it was a mouse.
Well, at least
so
fun. That's fun. But
yep.
What were we talking about? Something about Hawkeye.
Yes, great question.
We were talking about him getting and throwing it back out the window. So what happened after that?
Yeah, so
Catching the Molotov cocktail, throwing it back out.
So I really thought it was a cool scene with like the Molotov cocktail and all that, and but then they're like, we know you're in there. We want you for some reason because you are the criminal who we think decimated our entire organization. And then they're about to throw another one, and then Kate Bishop with the bow and arrow, you see like an arrow going to like pierce the bottom and just explodes like.
Oh, that's right. That was cool.
And then Kate was like, "See, I told you I'm the best archer in the world," and I was like, "That's kind of cool. That's kind of baller. It's established thing. You know, we already knew from like the whole clock tower scene that she is a good archer and she like has smarts when arching, but it just need to see that again in like a real world application. Of course, then she goes for the fire extinguisher. She tries to hit it, and it doesn't end up working out at all because the fire extinguisher just goes out the window. But yeah,
that's right. They did get they successfully got a Molotov cocktail in there and set the place on fire. So they were forced to leave, and then that's when they went to
and like
the store
because like Hawkeye was like, I need the Ronin suit. I need to take that out of here right now. But there was already the fire, and he was like, I'm gonna come back for it. It's fine. Let's just get out now. So they get out. They get to her aunt's house. He's like, I need to go back for the Ronin suit. Tries to go back for it. It is not there. He sees the fire truck has like the
you skipped the part where he sneakily puts on, like, just walks up, puts on the fire jacket and helmet, and walks in.
Literally nobody noticed him
the entire time. So smooth.
Yeah.
Like he did that with such just such smoothness.
Yes, it was fantastic. So it was fantastic.
And then he walks out, does the same thing, and then on the fire truck,
nobody notices.
Not a person.
Not a single person. I also loved how when he was looking for the suit, he just looked around for it. He went up to the highest point and like looked down. Like that's what Hawkeye did in a lot of the like early Marvel movies and like Thor and Avengers. He was known for going up somewhere high and being the best view by just looking down at the area.
Hawkeye.
Yeah, exactly. So I really thought it was cool that they kept doing that now instead of just forgetting about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then he doesn't see it, and then he sees like the NYC Harper's sticker on the fire truck, and he's like, I'm going to check out that because maybe that'll be a lead. And then he goes back and like he calls his kids or whatever, and is like, hey, sorry kids, be back soon.
And then that's when
I don't remember
the video goes up, I think.
I don't remember what's going on with Kate, but then like with his family, he's back there, and then he like helps load up all their bags in the car, and he's like,
oh, she went to work. I
can't go back home with y'all, but like I'll see you before Christmas. So, and it's in 5 days. I don't know if 5 days from that point or 5 days from the next day, but like there's one thing we get where it's like, okay, Christmas is in 5 days. Right. So we have a rough timeline for the rest of the show here.
Yeah, and Kate Bishop went to work.
Yes. I don't know if it was before or after, it was somewhere around there. We got this. Okay, probably one of my favorite scenes from this episode specifically, and there were a lot of great scenes. Probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, was when they're walking along and Hawkeye's like, sit down on the side of me, and she's kind of like, oh, why? And he's like, oh, because I have a hearing aid now, so I can hear you better on this side. And she's like, oh, like, how'd you lose your hearing? And he's like, well, and it cuts like a montage of him just being like really close to explosions and doing all this kind of stuff where he's like just getting really like beat up and hurt. And he's like, I don't know if there's like any specific incident or so something like that. And it was so perfect. Just that whole montage and him being like, it was probably something.
Yeah.
It was just so funny to me. And I'm really glad that it's kind of this like Marvel having lasting consequences for its characters.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Because they're walking to work during the scene. You're right. She was just he went to go pick her up and walk her to work or something like that.
Yeah, it was
after he dropped his kids off, and
they
then
went back to their apartment. And he was like, stay here, and she was like, I have work, and he's like, no, you should stay here for safety. And she's like, I work for a security firm.
So as they're walking, like right after that scene you mentioned, he like they walk by and like there's all these superheroes and like he doesn't see himself, and she's like, no, there you are. He's like, that's Katniss Everdeen.
It was a great scene too, because you're a child who's like, Mom, look, a superhero, and then he just runs past Hawkeye and all the people who are cosplaying as superheroes.
Yep, that's Katniss Everdeen. She's like, you know what your problem is?
Branding.
And then another great back and forth between them.
Yes.
He's like, no, my problem is you.
It honestly reminds me a bit of a Punisher's season 2, which I can't remember if that's a series you've watched.
It's not, but I don't care if you spoil anything because I'm not going to remember it. So
yeah, I mean, I was going to say, like, wasn't going to spoil anything specific, but just with the Punisher season 2, it kind of had the same dynamic where the Punisher was teamed up with a girl who I think was in her like early 20s as well, or like late teens, like 19, 20, 21, or maybe even older than that. I'm not sure. Or maybe younger than that. I don't know, just some age within all that. And like the dynamic was like similar in a lot of ways, not
somewhere between the age of 15 and 30.
Yeah, not similar in all the ways, because obviously the Punisher and Hawkeye are two very different people. But it was the same kind of dynamic where you have this like darker hero who doesn't really have a lot of like
dark kind of brooding hero. I'm in the background and that's where I'll stay.
Yeah, teamed up with this younger character who is like not like them at all,
kind of like a ray of sunshine.
And they have like all these like fun conversations back and forth like that, and I thought that was great. Because I really like the Punisher season 2. I really think the dynamic between the characters is like the best of any of the Marvel Netflix shows, because I feel like for superheroes it's so easy to pair them up with like a love interest instead, and doing the extra work of having it be a more complex and better, in my opinion, relationship where it's like, you know, either like a father-daughter type thing, or like a mentor-mentee thing instead.
Right.
Just is just much better to watch.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they had that fun conversation. He drops her off at work. He gives her number, another smart strategic move that I think a lot of other heroes would just be like, yeah, we're not gonna see each other again. It's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But then, so he gives her number and he's like, don't text me unless it's an emergency. And then of course, like 10 minutes later, she's like texting him.
I should
like,
text him.
What's up? Yeah. But yeah, it was so that was a great bit. She gets a call from the police. They're like, hey, your apartment is on fire. We need to ask you some questions. And she's like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm rich. I don't need to, I'll just buy another apartment. But then she's like, I'll go down to the station tomorrow morning. I'll answer all the questions that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, well, it'll be coming up next, right?
But that was also a very realistic element where if your apartment catches on fire, you're going to get calls from the cops being like, hey, what happened?
Why was your apartment on fire?
Yeah.
But then that's when Hawkeye goes to the LARP festival, right?
Yes. Yeah, that was okay. I take it back. That was probably my favorite scene of the episode. Him at like the LARP thing. I love that interaction because he's like, okay, I really don't want to be here, but I also want to get the Ronin suit, so we'll just get this over with. Especially when they're like, what's your name? What's your email? And he's like, no, I'm just gonna sign this a blank form and I'll register like that.
Yeah, that's not happening. I'm just gonna sign this and you're gonna give me the stuff. And he's like, you have to put this on. He's like, do I have to? And she's like, yeah. And he's like,
I like how they gave him the armor and like the helmet, and he only put on the armor.
well, the wig. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Big blonde. It was almost like it was a Thor-esque wig.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was like a helmet that had like the hair, like, yeah.
It was very Thor-esque.
Like, attached. Yes, it was. And then he's walking there, and he's kind of like, as he's walking, he's like fighting with like the people who are like attacking him because he doesn't want to get like, I don't know. It was just like a great scene.
That was great. Where like it's like slow-mo, like he's not really like trying or caring, but he's like killing everyone.
And like their reactions were fantastic too.
Yeah. Because they're so in it and he's so not.
Yeah. Because it looked like an actual battle kind of, but it was like just knowing it was all like just pretending to battle, especially after all the battles he's actually been in. That was
the fact that he was the Ronin, like that's the whole reason he's there. Like he's like a skilled swordsman. Like he's killed many people with a sword, and he's just sitting there. And they're all just like, oh.
It was so funny, especially to see the swords like flop around almost, so they're not like made of sturdy materials.
Yeah, that was great. And then he walks up to the Ronin, the guy wearing the Ronin suit.
Yeah, and he's like, "Hey," and he was like, I can either tap you on the chest with this sword and take the Ronin suit and leave, or I can punch you in the face, take the Ronin suit and leave. So you can choose. and then like. And like the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I'll give it back, but can I beat you in combat first?" And like the suit is like all yours, and he's like, "No, just give it back."
And then he eventually gives it fine. He like bends over. He's like, "No, I have to do it for real."
Yeah, it was so funny. Yeah, because like I was like, it was finally was because the guy was like, "No, I just want this one thing, and I promise you, like it's like all yours." And then at that point, Hawkeye was like, "Okay." And he just like bends over. The guy's like, "I'm not gonna kill you now. I have to do it like like a big old thing there." So then they go up to like the circle, and like they offer Hawkeye a potion. He's like, "No, I'm not gonna drink the potion." Someone in the audience is like, "Oh, he's not drinking the potion."
They're like, "Oh, he's not drinking the potion. Oh no, he's gonna die."
That was such a funny bit. Because they were like, it's the ceremonial.
There was like some real community vibes in this like one little scene.
Yes,
it's like real Dungeons and Dragons community episode vibes.
Honestly, yeah, because like Hawkeye was kind of acting like Jeff a winger would in some situations. He really did give off those kinds of vibes. You're absolutely right. But then so yeah, then they have a whole fight scene. It was a pretty great fight scene too, where Hawkeye was like, "Kill me," and the guy was like, "No, we make this look real." So there's like actual some back and forth before he killed Hawkeye, and like I was really afraid it was gonna be that whole trope where like the dude's like, "Oh, do this one thing for me," and then the whatever's all yours, and then Hawkeye would do, and the guy would be like, "Actually, I'm not kind of fulfill my end of the bargain here."
Yeah,
but I was pleasantly surprised it did not do that. The guy was like, actually like, "Hey, thank you. That's all I wanted. Here's the suit. It's like over."
Yeah, that was a great. And then it ended on like a really great interaction between Hawkeye and this guy. He was like, this guy was like really grateful that he was able to do this, and that Hawkeye was obliged, and it was a great interaction.
Yeah, because like it was so funny because like the guy or whatever was like, "Hey, you should like come back and like do whatever," and Hawkeye was like, "No." He was just like, it was like not at all, but like he was like, you can call me Clint. And then the guy was like, oh, thanks. And he told him his name. I don't remember his name right now. It's like a neat name. But I don't remember what it was, but like it was a positive interaction as a whole. And then Hawkeye had the suit, so that was over there.
And I don't think with any other Avenger that an interaction would have ever happened.
No.
Like,
I mean,
except maybe Steve.
Yeah.
Maybe Steve, but I definitely not Tony. Well, I can't say that because he did have that interaction with that kid in Iron Man 3, so maybe not.
Yeah. Tony might do it in a more sarcastic way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that was a great moment. And then I think they ended that scene with him being like, I'm gonna go bring this back because there's no way I'm paying for this.
Yeah. He was like, can you take this back? Because like they're gonna charge my card if like you don't. Talking about his armor or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Hawkeye is like, okay, now I just need to deal with the tracksuit gang or whatever. Yeah. So he was on the phone with his wife, and I really liked how open he was with his wife about the whole thing. Like they were talking about maneuvers and like everything, and like how risky it was. Like he really wasn't keeping her in the dark at all, which I feel a lot of heroes will do sometimes.
Which goes back to the planning thing. About, how he's always just like one step ahead of himself.
Exactly. And he's very just like open and like relaxed about it. Like, I mean, not like open in a way where he'll just, casually talk about things, but like he doesn't keep secrets from like his wife.
Like she already knows he's an Avenger. Like there's no hiding anything. Like,
yeah. I feel like some people are like, oh, I'm not going to tell them how dangerous or whatever. So I don't want them to worry, but he's like, no, I'm going to be straightforward with her, especially because he lost her for 5 years. And like, he's so just happy to have them them back. Just his whole family. So then he's going this whole strategy. He goes and gets kidnapped. It's that scene we were talking about earlier where he just like he's waiting there for them and they all come up and then he doesn't resist at all and they're like
we like ambush him.
And then the scene where they're putting him in the truck and they put the hood over his head and they're like and then you just hear him say, I don't know, it's very softly, I almost missed it when I was watching, but he's like I can see through this hood. And it was such a funny line. Just I don't know, it's like they really don't know what they're doing. It's the whole tracksuit mafia tracksuit gang or whatever just has no idea what they're doing. But then like Kate tries to call him, and it doesn't work the first time, so then she calls back and then someone answers. She's like, oh, and I thought calling back a second time might work. And then I don't know, it has to be them being stupid because there's no reason for it to make sense that they answered the phone. They kidnapped somebody, they answered the phone, they spoke like, oh, we've kidnapped this person. Like, what logic does that make? Especially because, like, he's an Avenger.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not implausible to think another superhero is calling. Like, I mean, what if you have, I don't know, like, the Hulk, I guess, calling him, and you answer and you let the Hulk know he's been kidnapped, and then you have, like, an hour later, the Hulk is breaking down your door. It's like, what? They're
not smart, like you said.
It just has to be them being stupid because there's no intelligent reason for them to do that at all.
Well,
I don't know what they were thinking. Just like, oh God, this phone's ringing and I want it to stop ringing. The only way I can think of stopping to ring is by answering it, not like turning off the sounds or anything like that.
Like Thor could have been on his way. I get that point. Like,
yeah.
And I think that's what sets this apart from the Netflix show is that it's very MCU and it's comedy and it's dumbness sometimes.
Yes.
The Traffic Mafia would not have been in the Netflix show, but it's very MCU, so it works. But that's what I think kind of separates it from the Netflix show, but also the tone of the show kind of makes it more like the Netflix show, which I like.
Yeah. So anyway, but then Kate Bishop, as she works for a security company, is just able to figure out where Hawkeye's phone is.
Yeah.
Which was cool. So then she knows where he is and she kind of goes to rescue him because she thinks he actually has been kidnapped. But then like they're like trying to interrogate him and he's like, I just need to talk to whoever's in charge right now. That's all. And they're like, no, we're interrogating you. And he's like, he takes his hands out. He's like really,
Yeah,
guys?
you're like,
and
come on, guys.
and then like they pull out guns or whatever, and then he's like, and then he's just like, I don't know where Kate Bishop is. Let me talk to who's in charge. I don't know anything about Kate Bishop. And then she crashes through the ceiling right in front of him. And it's so perfect because it's like showing how like the balance of like how skilled she is and how inexperienced she is.
Yeah.
And it's really the perfect balance of like both of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's very hard to strike that balance. I think the show is doing that well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it shows like, okay, she's experienced enough to get here and watch from above, but she forgets glass can like break, and so she falls through the ceiling.
So now the tracksuit mafia has both of them, and there's the leader.
I like how they tied them to like old like carousel pieces.
Yeah, that was great. And then the whole thing where it's like this warehouse is kind of creepy, and like dude was like, hey, wasn't a lot available, okay? All the warehouses are being like renovated. And then the other guys are like, dude, calm down, relax. He said it was creepy. Like that was great, and like that's again something you would not see in like the Marvel shows, or like not the Marvel shows, in like the Netflix shows,
right?
But I really feel like that was just so funny. But
and then at the end
we meet the leader. I guess kind of. She was kind of weird, in my opinion.
It's Echo.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. That's what everyone on the internet's saying. I thought it was Echo too the first time I saw her. So I'm pretty sure that's Echo, which would make sense because again, she was raised by Kingpin. So
I had no idea who the actress was who was cast for Echo, or like who Echo is. So I didn't, but that would at least be neat. Echo's giving me some weird vibes so far here, but neat.
But yeah, so that's where it ended. That was cool.
The fencing thing. We skipped over the fencing thing entirely. How did we miss?
Well, because we were too busy. Because that happened during the LARPing scene, or right after it, or whatever. I don't remember.
But yeah, because so Kate is at home, or not? She's at her mom's apartment. No, yeah, her mom's apartment, and then the dude's there, and she really doesn't like him. Okay, yeah, because like he was there, and like let's have a meal together, because she thinks he killed Armand because Armand was stabbed, and this guy likes swords or whatever. So she wants to see how proficient he is in swords. So she's like, let's fence right now, and he's like, dope, let's fence.
Because she's also a fencer.
Yeah, and then he gets his fencing gear he has from like upstairs or whatever, and they put it on and they fence some. And he's like, oh, you beat me again, you beat me. And she's like, I know you're better than this here. Why are you pretending to not be good at fencing? And then she goes to like, and then he's like just not paying attention one time because like the match was over, and she goes to stab him in the face, and he blocks it. He parries it so easy, and then her sword goes flying across the room. And it does this really cool spin thing, which I thought was super cool. But then she's like, see, I knew he was lying. And he was like, yeah, I was holding back because
Yeah.
Whatever. I thought it was a really neat scene. I would not have understood that scene at all, though, unless I knew that he was a swordsman.
Right.
So,
but yeah,
that was neat.
So that's episode 2. So how are you feeling?
I'm excited to see how his character develops. What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was saying I'm excited to see how his character develops, because like right now I'm not really feeling particularly invested in like any of the personal characters, and like in Kate's life. I just think the pacing is a little bit off. It's kind of harder for me to feel like to get a solid feel for who these characters are. Knowing that swordsman is swordsman, excited to see how he develops and how Armand fits into all of this, and how the Ronin suit really fits into all of this, or like what the grand bad guy plan is, if there is a grand bad guy plan here.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, we're already a third of the way through the series, and like it's kind of
so far I am liking how it's how it's panning out. I'm liking it a lot more than Captain America, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, just because I feel like the pacing in there was completely like different. It's the most comparable show in my opinion.
Out of the ones we got,
Yeah, I'm liking this one a lot more in terms of like the pacing and stories so far. I feel like it's a lot more balanced.
Yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is weird because I always feel like it was not like I always feel like it was too dark, and then like there were some parts that just weren't good. Like the whole Carly Morgenthau thing just
Yeah.
felt weird, and then the
They should not
whole
have really
thing
had
with
that in my opinion.
what's her name, Carter, Sharon Carter was
Yeah,
weird.
that was it. Just there's a lot
The
of
more I
pieces they
look at
were
that
trying
show,
to
the less
fit
I enjoy it. Like I
together.
don't think it was that great of a show.
And the thing is,
Like it had its moments, but
it wasn't necessarily a bad show.
right.
It was neat to watch the first time, but like the way it was broken up and paced and the stories they were all trying to fit together, it just kind of strikes me as weird.
It
I,
hit
I feel
the
like this show
social
is handling the
commentary
same. Yeah. It definitely has this.
perfectly.
Yeah,
It hit
definitely.
the action was also really, really good. And the stuff with John Walker was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is weird.
Yeah,
It's almost like they try to add too much into that show.
yeah.
But
Also, one thing I will say about that show that I can't remember if I commented on or not when we had initially watched it when it was initially out.
I don't know, it was
But,
months ago. So I have no idea.
Yeah. But there were a lot of people when it came out, they were like, oh, John Walker is using the shield to kill people and all that, and Captain America never used the shield to kill people. He was good, and this guy's bad. I was like, I rewatched Captain America and the first movie, and I was like, Captain America kills so many people. What is anybody talking about? He was in a war.
He killed a lot of Shatari too with that
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. But like aliens and stuff, but like also like actual people.
Like human beings. Yeah.
He was in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is scenes of him just killing people. So I thought that was nice. I mean, obviously Captain America is still like,
I think
they're not the same character. Like Captain America and U.S. Agent, they're not the same. But just the fact that people were like, oh, Captain America never used the shield to kill people. It's like that's fundamentally untrue.
Well, I think that almost goes with like the nationalism we have because it's World War II. So people are like, oh yeah, bad Nazis bad.
Yeah,
that's good. But then it's like, oh no, he killed someone in cold blood. Why? It's like, but yeah. I mean, Captain America. Like I understand they're Nazis, Nazis are bad.
Yeah,
but like he still killed people.
But like still, yeah, there were people who died because of Captain America because he killed them.
Yeah. But
anyway. But like I really feel like the pacing of this show is the pacing that Captain America. I keep wanting to
it is Captain America. By the end of it, it is Captain America.
The Winter Soldier.
And the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, but we already had Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Like
movie,
so it's so weird to.
Yeah, Falcon the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I feel like the pacing is what Falcon the Winter Soldier should have had. I feel like Falcon the Winter Soldier would have worked better with like this kind of pacing, but like,
right,
or just being a movie. It honestly should have just.
Yeah. We talked about that at length about how it probably should have just been a movie,
but yeah,
because they wanted to cash in on Disney Plus success.
Yeah, and Hawkeye here is I think what a lot of people could just look at and be like, oh, Hawkeye should be a movie too, just because of the character and everything. I think Hawkeye so far is working well as a TV series. I could still see it going either way, maybe, but I really think that it works as a TV series better than it would have worked as a movie, which is what you want
so far,
to see when you're watching a series.
Right, because if you look at this, if this was a movie, the LARPing scene would have been cut. Yeah. That would have not made the cut. And was it integral to the whole story? I mean, no, I guess technically it was because he was trying to get the suit back, but
sure.
They didn't have to have that part. That was getting the suit back. Like he could have gotten it when he went back with the fireman, but it added an extra layer of Clint, with him. Because he sees himself as a regular guy and he wants to be a regular guy. And that was just kind of him being a regular guy, So it definitely adds an element of depth to it that we wouldn't have gotten in a movie.
It's something they didn't have to add, but they did add. And it doesn't feel like they added it in. It feels like it is like an integral part of the story, even though, like you said, they didn't have to have it.
Right.
But like it fits well. It doesn't feel like, oh, they wanted to add to the runtime. So they added this, which I feel like a lot of the other shows have had in some way or another, and obviously we have a lot of this series left to go, so there may be more of that. Right. But so far, I don't think Hawkeye has really had anything that's like been like, oh, this is just useless filler stuff to get the episode up to like the roughly hour runtime that they want.
Right, and I'm glad this has been roughly an hour, because like they didn't really like the second one was longer than the first one. They didn't really waver in that, because I
Yeah.
know that was the issue I think with WandaVision that a lot of people have. It just wasn't long enough.
Yeah.
Certain episodes, especially there by the end. But
Yeah.
so overall, liking the show so far.
I'm liking it a lot. Looking forward to seeing where it goes next. I'm glad that it is like a 6-episode series, because like I feel like it's worked well with the pacing so far, and we're a third of the way through.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I know it's definitely too early to say this, but I could definitely see this having a second season, or at least leading into a different show, like maybe the Young Avengers or West Coast Avengers or something.
Yeah,
but
like Kate will absolutely be sticking around here.
Yeah, oh yeah,
and
for sure.
I'm already excited to see what happens to her character next, even though there's still a lot in the series left. But like after the series ends, I'm excited to see where she ends up. I'm excited to see her interact with Spider-Man, because I feel like that would be fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm just excited for the show.
She's older than Spider-Man. I realized that.
Yes, she is. But yes. I think Tom Holland's older than Haley Steinfeld. So do with that what you will. I think she's like the only character like that's like cast her age. Because I think Haley Steinfeld isn't much older than me and you. I don't think. But
the one thing that I want just to find out, and like I saw an article about this online, but I didn't click on it, was Kate Bishop around between Infinity War and Endgame, or was she one of the people who was flipped away?
So, well, first off, Haley Steinfeld's 24, so she's a little bit older than her character in the show. But anyway, I think the producer or the director, someone came out earlier this week and said that, or sorry, it's Monday. Sometime last week, it came out and said that she did not get blipped away.
Oh, so she was there.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, because, and we got to think about this. How old was she when the Battle of New York happened?
Yeah, she was young, right? I mean,
right. And then she would have had to have those 5 years to be in her 20s.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how young kids are, though. If we say, like, was she like 7 or was she like 12? I don't know how children age.
Well, 20, because they're in 2025 now, right?
Yeah.
So she could have been 7 or 12. I actually think that's the age range, because if it was 13 years later, she's 20, or she's 20, 25. Okay, so no, 12 is too old. So she's between 7 and 10.
She's in college, so she has to be like 20.
7 or 9. 7 would work actually the best, because that would mean she's 20.
That's 13 years before where we're at now.
So she'd be 25 if she was 12. And that's too old.
So she has to be like 7 then.
So like 6 to 9 years oldish
in the flashback. So she
6 to 9, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Okay.
Because 9 years old puts her at 23. Sorry, 22.
Okay.
Which makes sense for college age. Not a ton, but I mean, it makes sense. Because I graduated at 22. So.
Yeah.
And I turned 24 in a couple months. So.
Happy birthday.
Remember on your birthday last year, we had Reson. Or the most recent birthday. Yeah. Because then, and you remember, I remember last time you're like, we're never doing this on my birthday again. I was like, all right, fine.
I know we have started to record on Mondays or whatever, and I know my birthday is on a Monday this upcoming year.
Because we were recording on Sundays last year.
Yeah.
Or up until recently.
So we'll
either record on Sunday or hope that your week is skipped.
Or we just record on my birthday this upcoming year as well, and we just keep shifting the podcast every year so it purposefully coincides with my birthday.
That'd be funny. Anyway, but yeah, I'm liking the show so far. I'm excited to see where it goes. Anything else?
I just realized I normally edit my name at the start of this podcast.
Okay, so I don't believe they show up on the recorded version.
Yeah. That's fine. I've edited now, so hopefully no one remembers to look until after I've changed and no one knows how to rewind.
Well, only one person watches it, so
Nice.
And I'm pretty sure that's me. So everyone else listens. So you're all good.
Nice.
But any
Hopefully
other
no one could
thoughts?
sound out my last name just from the speaking here. Just getting a vibe of what our rooms look like and what's on our screens right now, just from the audio. I don't think there's anything else from me. I think that's all my thoughts for Hawkeye. Hawkeye, good.
Me too. So with that, I think we'll end the episode. If you guys like this, please give us a like if you're on YouTube, of course. Subscribe anywhere you listen to this or watch it.
Or everywhere. Anywhere or everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere is better.
Yes.
Anywhere is also fine.
Yes.
Follow Brennan. Subscribe to Brennan at Not Brennan on YouTube. Subscribe to me and Wolfgator Entertainment. I got some fun stuff coming next year. Hopefully have a real shit coming up later this week. And
nice.
That's it. Peace out.
Make sure to like that comments section. Absolutely obliterate.
I thought you were going to say like the subscribe button.
Yes. Oh, also like the subscribe button. Definitely like the subscribe button and subscribe to the comments.
Peace out, everyone.
Peace.